I had some close calls traffic-wise, and I had a heart attack at one point, but I didn't know at the time that it was a heart attack. And I had cellulitis in my legs for a couple of weeks, and I had to take a few days off because of cellulitis. But, overall it was, not a real problem. I was walking on an interstate one time in Michigan trying to save some miles, and I was way off the road, probably 15 feet off the road, walking in the grass, and I heard screeching brakes, and it was very close, so I ran to my right and jumped up on the side of a hill, and I turned around, and the cars were all over the place right where I had been standing. And what had happened was a woman freaked out when she saw me and slammed on her brakes, and everybody slammed on their brakes and started hitting each other, and it was a horrible mess. So I got off the interstate right away. I went over a fence and got off the interstate, and then I just walked on the side roads again. You're not supposed to walk on interstates in most states. Out in the West, in Montana and Idaho and Washington, you can walk on them because there's no place on an interstate again until I got out to where I had to use the interstate.
Okay.
In Montana. And then my health issues were, I had some knee problems at one time, which put me in the hospital in Cleveland for a few hours. And they told me I couldn't walk anymore, and they gave me a shot of cortisone, and I went out and walked the next day. And then I had a heart attack in Montana, out in the middle of nowhere in Montana, which that is Montana. It is the middle of nowhere, the whole place. And the only day that the van wasn't behind me, I had sent him ahead of me to check in a motel and do laundry and stuff because he didn't want to stay up late doing laundry. That was the only day he left me, and that day I had a heart attack, and I woke up on the side of the road, and I didn't know what happened to me. I just woke up on the side of the road, and I was reaching my arm up trying to get cars to stop, but out there the speed limit at that time there was no speed limit. It went by 120 miles an hour. So I kept raising my hand and yelling to no avail. And finally a motorcycle came along, and he had gone by on the other side and saw me, and he went up and turned around at the next exit and came back, and he came and got me and sat me up and gave me some water, quite a bit of water, and I felt better, and I just figured I had been dehydrated. And so finally I felt like I was all right, and he left, and I started walking, and I went down again, and he came back because he figured that I wasn't going to be well, so he went and got off at the next exit, got some juice, and came all the way back to the exit behind us and came back to where I was. And then I drank the juice, and I felt better, and I walked the last 3 or 4 miles to the motel. A few days later, I found out I had had a heart attack, but I didn't know it that day because I have silent heart attacks. I don't feel anything because of diabetes, and I've had several, but that was the first one, and that was a pretty significant heart attack, but I didn't even know it.